Hi folks, this is Dragon. A bit of a gear review on the Blast Match. It's one of my favourite firelighters. It's not my only one. I use them because I can use them one-handed. They're pretty robust, and what we tend to do with gear we buy or make or whatever the case may be is we take them out in the bush and give them a good flogging to see if they come up to specs, and then we push them some more to see at what point they do break or fail. I would suggest to people, it's only a suggestion, that any gear you buy or make yourself, take it out, field test it, push it to its limits and see where its failure point is. It's better to find out now than when you're in a real situation. Blast Match, pretty robust fire lighter, but I've had a failure on it. Now I don't know whether it's a one-off thing, the 1 in 1,000 that comes off the production line, or what the story was. But I'll go through what happened. Basically, under this clip here, which holds this part down when it's not in use, you've got the striker, the metal striker, just in there. You've also got the ferro rod. And I think most of us know how a blast match works. The thing is, there's a fair bit of slop in that ferro rod. Plastic case. And that's a good thing, because when you're out in the bush, this thing gets clogged up with mud and sand and dirt. You don't want it to jam on you. It's spring loaded, springs and sits in the back against a buffer, and that's basically how it works. Press down on the striker and away you go. Now what happened with this particular failure I had, and it was during one of the first videos I did, was the handle separated along its seam. Just completely fell apart. As I said, I don't know if that's a common fault with these. It might have been just one of those fluke faults. I don't know. It was still usable afterwards. In fact, we did use it during one of the video series, but it was a bit difficult because I had to hold it together and try and do the spark flash thing, and yeah, it became a bit difficult. But it comes down to some pretty basic physics. Basically, you've got the rod here, you've got the striker, that's your pivot point. And if you move it up and down, the rod's probably about that long. So the back of the rod is up against the casing, the plastic casing. As with most firelighters like this, with whether they're separate or in a combined unit like this, you've got to get the angle right. And I think what happened in that case was that the angle was wrong. If you're trying to do it like this, you're putting a lot of stress at that angle, putting a lot of stress. I can feel it on my hand here with the back of the ferro rod on the case. Pivot point, and you're pressing down on this. And you've also got to try and slide it to strike a spark. And it's a bit more difficult to do it that way, but it put a lot of stress on this, and that's how I split the casing on this particular one. The idea of these is to get a steep angle, 60° plus, and just push down. I won't do it on this table. Push down to take a lot of the stress off the back of the ferro rod in the plastic casing. You've still got your pivot point here, but you're not putting so much load on it down here. It's just a simple up and push down motion with a lot less stress through your pivot point to the ferro rod on the back of these. We did repair it, we glued it back together, and it's working fine. So that's something to be aware of with these. Separate strikers and flints, I believe, and I've tried it myself. You've got to get the angle right on them. But more important with these, otherwise the handle will separate, it will come apart on you, as is what happened to us. So just something to think about, folks. I still favour these because I can use it one-handed. That's not to say this is not my only method of fire lighting. I carry others with me too, but this is my favourite one. So it's just something to be aware of. You've got to get the angle right, 60 degrees or more, so you're not putting too much stress through your pivot point onto the back of the rod on your case, so the case separates along this seam here. Okay, thanks very much folks.